contest for obvious reasons, right? Trevor loves his appearances on Out of Pocket, so he's got to do the right thing with that. But we did have breaking news we want to get into. Yes, you saw on our intro video package what we'll be talking about today, but Tua Tagovailoa, and I hope Jackson Cordray is proud of me for how I pronounce that name, just got the bank this afternoon, 4-year, $212 million, 0.4, of course. This is the largest deal in Miami Dolphins history. This also makes Tua the third highest average per year when it comes to current quarterback contracts. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence at 1, Joe Burrow at 2, Tua is now at 3, and then that list fills out with Jared Goff, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, all in that $51 to $55 million bracket. That's 4 quarterbacks from that 2020 draft class of Joe Burrow, Tua, Justin Herbert, and Jalen Hurts. Guys, I did not expect this to be the next domino to fall, especially after Miami spent so much money on Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and Tyreek's already wanting more money and the way it is. Austin, what was your first reaction when you heard this news?
Yeah, my first reaction, Michael, I tell you, I'm just not of the fan side of paying quarterbacks to win championships. I think it's been proven quite regularly that it doesn't work. I think you need to build a solid defense, build good weapons around whatever guy you have at quarterback, and you need to produce from that. And I don't get me wrong, he had an MVP level year. Probably should have won comeback player of the year if Joe Flacco didn't do what January Joe tried to do. But he led the league in passing. Great quarterback. Alabama guy too. But I just don't think that it's going to be the winning strategy to take your team to that Super Bowl. And I'm of the camp that he doesn't produce come January. And I have this issue with a lot of guys, like your boy Dak. Have the issue with it there. You pay these guys big money for not big results, and so I get it. Quarterbacks are hard to come by. But I'm of the camp that if you build your defense up, defense wins championships. It's a known fact. And if you build your defense up and you have good weapons around, you can have an average quarterback and more than likely win a Super Bowl compared to overpaying for your quarterback, having maybe a weapon for him that Miami has 2, which is nice, and then having a mediocre defense. And so that's my opinion. And then on the Tyreek Hill need more money. He got to pay for the children. So he needs all the money he can get. He needs all the money he can get.
Wow. Yeah, Tyreek Hill, child support, whatever. He's going the Ric Flair route with that. Trevor, I invited you on Talk Basketball, and yes, we will talk basketball later today on here on Out of Pocket, but this Tua news caught me by surprise. And especially like Austin said, like defense wins championships. He's building his college football dynasty by going and recruiting all these defensive guys or not, because
I'm rebuilding Army. Lord help me.
Hey, power football, baby. Run the ball. Go Army. Beat Navy. Okay, Mike, basketball guy talking football here. Doesn't mean I don't watch football. Doesn't mean I'm not a Patriots fan that roots against Tua every single week.
Right.
So a couple things that I hate to do this, but first of all, that Trivia Showdown is coming out and it's already edited for what it's worth. No spoilers here. And it'll be out on August 14th. Wanted to give Mike the specific date there. So the 2020 draft class I think is paid in the right order, at least. 275 for Joe Burrow, 255 for Jalen Hurts, 262 for Justin Herbert. Jordan Love, hopefully for the sake of this, I think he's just under Tua in terms of talent level. And so, putting him right there in that tier, I think it's really interesting that they kind of got paid in the order I would think of them. So it's kind of funny how Tua ended up 4th there. On the side of you can't give him the deal, whatever, I think partly is what Austin was saying there and putting it on defense. The problem is it's just like this in any sport. This is not I'll use a basketball angle here, right? Typically in basketball, up until the Paul George deal this year, guys just get the 4th year on those contracts. No matter how old they're going to be, you're better off paying the guy and then you can trade him later. In the NFL, that's a lot harder. I get that. But then if you don't take Tua, all of the progression on defense that the Dolphins have made, which they are a good defensive team coming into this year, I think. The problem is you take all that regression from not having a good quarterback, right? Jordan Love took 3 years to develop. I'm not saying he's an all NFL player here, but he's going to help the Green Bay Packers win games. They're really good defense as well, as an example for your comparison there. look, the defense wins championship game. I think people use that when they want to. I'm not saying that's what the case here, but even if we just went through the last, I don't know, handful of Super Bowls, you need an all-time quarterback. You need a quarterback that is one of the best in the league. Really, the last like kind of weird one was Joe Flacco, and he's actually going to age really well. If you want to throw Eli Manning at me, that's fine. That was in 2012. Let's even go back further here a little bit. Tom Brady. Oh, Tampa Bay in 2003. That was the last average quarterback to win.
Another Eli Manning, by the way, 2 times.
Yeah.
Don't forget it.
But my point is he's probably the most average quarterback in the last 25 years to win a Super Bowl.
Terrible take. Can't spell elite without Eli.
I'm not saying he's not. Listen to what I'm saying.
He wasn't.
He's the most average.
That's
He's the most average of the Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, Russell Wilsons in the last 25 years. He's the worst quarterback other than, I can't even remember. I think it was Trent Dilfer that won in 2003 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. My point being is you need someone who is that good. I don't think Tua is that, but my point is like you have to give him the deal because at the end of the day, who are you replacing him with? And that's kind of the old, saying of the defense wins championship. That's my argument against it. But
Eli is super, super, super average, by the way.
Yeah, I can't believe either of your takes.
He's
the Cowboys.
He's 500 in his career, is he not? He's 500
and
in his
he's
career.
a 2-time Super Bowl MVP. It don't matter.
Right, and the Hall of Fame goalpost gets wider every year too. So, I don't know. It's just interesting, but no. My point is even if Eli's the worst player on that list, he is a 2-time Super Bowl champion. My point being is, if he's the worst player, who's a really good quarterback all time, I'm admitting that. Like, let's be real for a second. He is. Right, Nick Foles is probably okay. That's fair. Nick Foles, or again Trent Dilfer, who I think is an incredible quarterback as well at the time. The point being, if those are your exceptions to the rule, you have to pay Tua the deal because that's where we are.
Wasn't Brad Johnson the?
I can't remember if it was Brad Johnson or if it was no. Brady definitely was. Let me see who won the Super Bowl that year.
I think it was Brad Johnson with the Buccaneers that year.
Trent Dilfer. Let's see.
Trent Dilfer was Ravens, right?
Did he win it? I don't know. I can't get it pull up.
It was Brad Johnson.
It was Brad Johnson.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I get my mid Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterbacks confused. I apologize.
I mean, as long as we agree they're all in the echelon with Nick Foles and Eli Manning, I'm okay. I'm okay. By the way, the disrespect this past week on Trevor Lawrence. I mean, we talked all day on Tuesday about the disrespect with Trevor Lawrence. Mouth down for the mic. You guys can be a part of the show as we stream live on this Friday evening, right after your work week. Mouth down for the mic. He'll do a nightcap layer tonight with Derek saying Tua getting paid less than Trevor Lawrence is wild.
How NFL deals work year to year. I mean, he's going to get a bigger one next year, and we're all going to be arguing whether it was more or less than Tua for a good reason, but that's just how the salary cap works. But Trevor has not shown us enough from what his expectations were, where Tua should be getting paid more than Trevor Lawrence right now. He's been more successful.
I mean, I would say if Trevor Lawrence was in the Miami Dolphins offense with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and all that speed, he'd be doing a lot better.
That doesn't take away from what I just said. That doesn't take away from the fact Tua's been better. Tua's been a better quarterback through their two careers. And I think both of them are playing under expectation. I think Tua's an incredible player, but Tyreek Hill, this was the first year we really saw Tua kind of stay healthy and break through, right? I think that was an important thing. If we want to say, okay, maybe it was the first couple of years when he was wasn't getting healthy, let's also throw out the Urban Meyer season for Trevor. Let's just give him the fact that he's a year behind because he is. Okay, the Urban Meyer year, we all just forget that happened. Urban Meyer lost his mind.
I honestly forgot. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. We all should just wipe it from our memory. That's cool. Doesn't take away from the fact that in 3 years, Trevor hasn't done really anything. And the point being, I know he led him to the playoffs, but you bring in a new coach who has the Super Bowl winning experience. That's different. Like that's going to happen. But Trevor has, from the expectations of, if you look at these number one overall picks guys that are like these otherworldly expectations that like Trevor had, he's done worse. You have to think of it from the expectation. If we talk about a guy like LeBron, living up to an expectation, look, Trevor was a touted quarterback just like anybody else was at number one, and it hasn't been great.
Yeah, I'm hoping for better with both these quarterbacks. I mean, they're hard not to enjoy. They're hard not to like, just in general. But it is going to come down to quarterbacks are based on, how do you do playoff time? Is Miami even going to win their division because they have Buffalo? The Jets have a good defense, but an older quarterback. The Patriots are obviously in rebuilding mode. I just wanted
Getting better,
to point that
baby.
out.
Getting better, baby. Gerard Mayo, let's go. I'm excited, man. I'll run through a wall for Gerard Mayo. Gerard Mayo was one of the best defensive players at linebacker in Bill Belichick's years there. Over however many years he had of incredible linebackers, Gerard learned under him, the greatest NFL coach of all time, and also was an incredibly smart player on his own.
He's having contract disputes, ain't he?
Gerard Mayo, he just signed a full deal.
Oh, did he sign it? Okay.
They signed him to whatever his full deal was when he got the job last year, but or end of last year, whatever, however that works. But look, I wrote their wall for Gerard Mayo. He's an awesome dude, and he was an awesome player. And Drake May, I know it's training camp videos, but dude, he is putting balls in places that quarterbacks haven't done in a few years in New England. So we're very excited around here.
Well, Trevor's excited about the Patriots on the way up, but this Tua signing probably not doing well with him. Austin, would you still put the Miami Dolphins in that? I want to say 2 slot in the AFC East.
Yeah, I'd probably put him in the 2 spot because I think the Bills regressed. The Patriots don't have it all together yet. I mean, they've got a rookie quarterback, a coach that's coming on like year 3 now, 2, 3, or whatever he's at. Either way, though, I think the Jets are going to be the biggest team to give them the run for the money. They've got Aaron Rodgers. I know he's coming off the Achilles tear, but he's coming back. He's got a lot of weapons, a very good defense around him. And so I think, the Jet, this is going to be their big hoorah. We talked about it a couple episodes ago. This is kind of their year to, if they're going to win the AFC East, they're going to have to do it this year, in my opinion. And so I think the Dolphins are going to compete with that. But I can see the Dolphins winning the division, too. I don't think it's that far flung. And as much as I love the Bills, and my girlfriend's a Bills fan, go Bills, I see them regressing, sadly.
Just so we're all on the same page, Gerard Mayo took over the job this year. Okay, this is his first full year. Just making sure both of you knew that, because clearly neither of you did, which is fine. Like, Tom Brady leaves New England, no one cares. Like, it's cool. I get it.
Yeah,
I'm just making sure. I'm just making sure people realize Gerard Mayo is in his first season as an NFL head coach. But I would still run through a wall for that guy.
But he still run through a wall for that guy. That was my question. Is like, what is there to be?
I would run through a wall for any defensive player in my lifetime that played for the Patriots that contributed to a Super Bowl.
What about Mac Jones?
Mac Jones looks like me, so no, I wasn't. I said, first of all,
you did say defensive.
Defensive players that contributed to a Super Bowl. The only exception is Matthew Judon. I would run through one for that guy as well. He's having contract disputes, by the way. That's the guy having contract disputes.
Maybe that's what I saw. I saw somebody was. I thought it was.
Yeah, they need to pay him the $90 million he's asking for, or whatever the heck it was.
Man, well, the Patriots better, fork up that money for Matthew Judon, just like the Dolphins forked up the money for Tua. If you missed that breaking news at the top of the hour or top of the show, where we go mid-hour here at Out of Pocket, that is a 4-year, $212.4 million contract, and that places him third in terms of average per year behind Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow. So kudos to Tua getting his money. Hopefully he doesn't have to spend that on health insurance. But guys, I am super excited because Trevor, basketball mastermind, Austin does a fantastic job getting all of our fantasy basketball leagues together. I know we're about to come up on fantasy football time, and we might do some fantasy football content here over the next few weeks to try to, hype everybody up for the season to come. But we got some 2 really good basketball minds in here today, and ESPN.com dropped their top 25 players in the 21st century. And I just wanted to run through this list, and I put out the highlights in the ticker below that LeBron topped the list, and followed by Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry, Tim Duncan, and Shaquille O'Neal rounding out the top 5. And of course, that was from the start of the 21st century on forward, not an entire compilation of their careers that they, competed anytime during the 1990s. There's some weird names that kept coming up in this list, like Nikola Jokic, already a top 10 player. I'm sure Carson loves that. Russell Westbrook at 23. He just signed with the Denver Nuggets for a couple years. Luka Doncic already in the top 25 after this year. And it's just, this is like blowing my mind of how they put together this list. Austin, what is your what is your reaction? How do you think anyone got snubbed? Do you think anyone, doesn't fit in this list at all?
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and throw my out of pocket take out there, and we're gonna jump right on the LeBron hate. Definitely don't think he is number one. He's never even had an era in his own right in basketball. We had the Kobe era, jumped straight from that to the Curry era. And so I don't think LeBron is number one. I would probably put Kobe one, then probably put Curry, and then LeBron at probably three. So I think that's pretty fair. The Luka being on there at 25, I find interesting. He's got to be the youngest player on this list.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, without a doubt. And he's got one finals appearance. Yeah, he's a MVP level talent, phenomenal player. Don't get me wrong, but I think putting him at 25 is interesting. I'm sitting here trying to think of who I would put above him.
Can I give you a few? I've got a few. That was the biggest takeaway I had was why the heck Luka Doncic is.
Yeah, I was really surprised he was on. I was also surprised Paul Gasol was at 24.
Me too.
Yeah.
MVP level was your keyword in that sentence for Luka.
Exactly.
Okay? I get he's made 4 All-NBA teams in 5 years. I think that is incredible. That is like if you rank NBA history and look at guys that have done that, it's a very small list. I would have put Paul Pierce, I think, is a ridiculous omission. Like, I think he's one of the best players of that era, remembering that way, obviously winning a title. But if you're going to have Ray Allen and you're going to have Kevin Garnett on there, you probably should have the guy who was the number one player on that team. I'm sorry. It just was one of those years.
I agree with that.
Not all of those years. KG was one of the best players most of those years. Yao Ming, I would have had over Luka. Vince Carter, I would have had over Luka. Carmelo Anthony, I would have had over Luka.
Melo, definitely.
And Dwight Howard. Wow. Dwight Howard, without a doubt, I would have had over Luka.
I can't believe they don't have Dwight Howard on this list now that I think about it. I was blanking reading it, but that's actually crazy.
It's a weird starting 5. Paul Pierce, Yao Ming, Vince Carter, Carmelo Anthony, and Dwight Howard. Definitely not a starting 5, but that's the 5 I'd have over Luka without a doubt. A couple other things. KG's too high. I'm sorry, but I know he's going to be remembered all time. He's one of the richest players up until that point, winning a bunch of, making a bunch of money, winning a title, winning an MVP in a place that had never really seen basketball reach that point. And they haven't since really until this year. But Jokic should have been over Kevin Garnett, a 3-time MVP, a champion, one of the best players of all time, one of the best passers of all time. Not that Kevin Garnett's not up there in these conversations. I would have Jokic over him. D Wade felt a little high, but then you look at the guys behind him, and then you realize that a lot of those guys are very similar. Obviously, he's won more titles than most of those guys. And then that was it. Those were the 3 qualms I had, actually. Jokic over KG, KG too high, and no Paul Pierce.
I also think Kevin Durant's too high. I've never been a Kevin Durant fan. I think if he's not rode the coattail of Stephen Curry, he's not really been relevant. Aside from his MVP level seasons, yes, I respect that he's an elite level scorer. But when it comes to winning, and that's what I base a lot off. Personally.
Well, so here's the thing. I'm with you. The problem is they have him at 9, and then you sound off on the names behind him, and you realize that resume stack wise, he's number 9. He basically, if we just we're just thinking about resume, Allen Iverson, you guys know, is one of my favorite players of all time, and the fact that he's 19 or 18 is crazy. But then you look at the list above him: Manu, Kawhi, Chris Paul, Jason Kidd. I probably wouldn't have had him much higher than any of those guys. So again, I don't think the list is super wrong by any stretch of the imagination. I just think there were some weird omissions that we had just talked about. And then also just small, if we're taking into consideration of the fact that their whole career was in that time frame, then you have to consider their resume as a whole. And that's where you kind of KG obviously played some of his years before then. Dirk is interesting. The one title, I had a conversation with somebody recently. We probably remember Dirk very similarly to someone I don't know, a Tracy McGrady who played 20 years, or Vince Carter. We probably remember Dirk the same we do Vince Carter if he doesn't win that title. I know he won an MVP, I get that, but Dirk is I think he's remembered very fondly for a lot of weird reasons, and I just think it's interesting. He's 10. I probably would have Giannis over him, but I know the whole career in the 2000s, Dirk was really good. So,
yeah. Well, and I mean, Dirk won that title at the expense of my favorite team, the Miami Heat, and I would give Dirk his flowers. I feel like Dirk,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like Dirk in the top 10 is an easy thing, but
Giannis can get there. Steve Nash, I wouldn't put over him. James Harden, I wouldn't. Jason Kidd. Again, it's just look at the list behind him. You just don't do it. To be clear, Michael, I'm not going to not address what he said about the LeBron stuff that he opened with.
Come on.
Oh, I was about to.
I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it with this. I'm not doing it today because we don't have enough time. But I'm going to let LeBron stands deal with him in the comments.
That's fine. Please bring him on, please.
I mean, and I don't like LeBron probably the most on this entire panel. especially leaving the Miami Heat. I mean, that's like
You know that was going to happen. Don't sit here and be
Yeah,
revisionist
come on.
history
No.
on me. Don't be
How-
revisionist history. Every person in America that knows what a basketball is knew he was leaving.
no. How do you have like a toxic relationship for 7 years? You finally get the cojones to leave him. You know, leave that person. Go and find yourself a new partner. Get you a ring. Get you 2 rings. I mean, let's be honest. You know,
Not 3,
takes you on
not
Not
4, not
4.
5. Yeah.
whatever.
It's the third time I've
Hey.
done that to you.
He takes them on these elaborate trips, you know, have great, you know, personal time, you know, in Dallas and OKC and Miami and San Antonio.
Cancun a couple of times too.
And then you're like, you know what? I'm having a great time with this new boo. Let me go back to that toxic relationship that I was in for 7 years.
But the toxic relationship went and sought help. They got a first overall pick. They got Kyrie. You know, I get it. And when it's good, it's good. You know, if you know what I'm saying. So I get it going back. You know.
He had a home run with
was
that toxic ex. He had a home run. Like, I mean, it's not like he didn't. He took it all the way home. But I'm trying to be appropriate here. But
Yeah, that's fair.
you were bouncing around the subject, and I'm like, how do we land the plane with LeBron like in a relationship? This is crazy. But lay relationship.
Me mouthing off of the mic saying that list was bogus. The Mouse of Sports list was bad.
Yeah.
I mean, and to be fair, like
It actually was pretty good.
I'm okay with LeBron being one on this list because Kobe's entire career wasn't in the 21st century. Like he had some 90s stuff. That's totally okay. You could
won 5 titles in the 21st century, but I get you. No, I said that earlier about KG though. Same thing.
Yeah, you could put Curry above LeBron in that point because Curry basically dominated LeBron when they met in the finals for the most part. But I would say LeBron did have an era. Like we didn't go straight from Kobe to Curry. Like we had that 4 or 5 years of LeBron, and it was okay.
He was the top 3 most dominant player ever on when the Heat were winning those championships in 2012 to 14. He was the top 3 most dominant player. It's Michael Jordan, him, and then maybe like a Wilt. Throw a Wilt or a Shaq.
Oh, you got Shaq for sure.
I said Wilt or Shaq. But yeah, like I'm just saying dominant. Like I'm thinking like not that Shaq wasn't this level, but I'm thinking like Kareem, LeBron, Michael. Like I'm talking like seasons that are the greatest seasons of all time. He was the most dominant, most feared player since Michael Jordan.
And some cramps took him out just like that.
Yeah. That's ironic.
Touche. But the fact that Dwight Howard's not on this list and guys like Luka is Luka right now. Luka in 5 years, I probably don't have a debate on that. But I mean, Luka's on here. Russell Westbrook, my bad. Draymond Green, like the
I think Kawhi should be higher too. I think he should be over.
Think he should be higher?
Yeah,
2
I
championships
do.
holds a lot of weight in 2 different teams.
It really does.
Yeah.
It really does. I think so.
I mean,
think he
if we
should
want to play
the
the list ahead of him, I'm with you. There you go. I'm glad you said it. I would put him against Chris Paul, Jason Kidd, and James Harden. I'd put ahead of both of those guys. All of them.
Wow. Now, what's great is a lot of the people we just mentioned are actually on Team USA. We get the Paris Olympics kicking off here. Super, super excited. I don't get super excited when it comes to the Olympics just because there's so much going on. There's so much content. But I'm really interested to see what this Team USA does because now all of a sudden, we've talked about it the last couple of weeks, there is more talent internationally. Trevor, I know we've talked about it with you off air a little bit, but I'm really curious of what your thoughts are headed into this Olympics, whether it's just sports in general or specifically this men's basketball team that's about to take the floor.
I would say your point about like, it's overwhelming. I completely agree. It is, but watch what you care about. Like that's not a message to Michael Davis specifically. It's a message to anybody that like is wondering how they get into the Olympics. I every time the Olympics comes on, I look for beach volleyball, table tennis, and water polo. Sports that I wouldn't normally seek out because they're just not on the highest level stage. These are the greatest players in their sports. Like, I mean, this goes for any sport, by the way. But beach volleyball is like, if you've ever played it yourself, I mean, the fact that these people are professionals in that sand, I mean, good grief. Okay. Like they are the best people in the world at that sport. Table tennis is cool because of the history. It's one of the oldest like sports, I think, in the Olympics, and the history with the war back in, World War II time with table tennis and stuff. There's a fun story there. Water polo is the hardest sport in the freaking world. I will not let anyone else tell me otherwise. You have to have the core of a runner, the arm strength of a football player, a quarterback, and you have to have like the mind and like the agility of like a track star. It makes no sense. Water polo is ridiculous. It's stupid. I'm excited for 3x3, as they famously call it. Jimmer Fredette. People might obviously know that name. He's the star player for 3v3. They did not qualify in 2020. Unfortunately, they lost in I believe, the final of the qualifying rounds. They have a player named Canyon Barry, who's the son of Basketball Hall of Famer Rick Barry. That'd be the fourth son of Rick Barry to do something exciting in basketball. So that's some great bloodline for the Barry family. Kareem Maddox, who's an Ivy League Defensive Player of the Year at Princeton. And then Dylan Travis, who's a Division II national champion. So really cool team there. Their first time doing it. Unfortunately, they are not remotely close to being the best team in 3x3. There's some incredible international teams that they've been doing it for 25, 30 years longer than the U.S. has. So they kind of got an uphill battle there. Anyway, to land my point, the Team USA basketball concerns are minimal for me. I think not taking the exhibition game seriously was interesting. Obviously, people are going to point to the South Sudan game, but even the one after where they were down, whatever it was, 16. I don't remember who it was against now, but they were down 16 and they just had to make a comeback. That's just interesting. They're not taking it seriously, it seems like. My concern, and I'll actually ask you guys a question for my concern because I want to figure out how we can come to a conclusion, is what's their starting or their closing five? Their closing five, their final five, their clutch, whatever people call it, the final 5 minutes. I'm struggling figuring that out because of spacing. Tatum's not the greatest 3-point shooter, so do you stick him in the corner and then he's like Kevin Durant takes those minutes? Maybe Steph has to be out there for shooting. Obviously, LeBron has to be out there for facilitating. You have to have some kind of defensive anchor. Is it Bam? Is it Anthony Davis? But then you have a guy that has to guard Jokic. I'm just giving you ideas here. But what's their starting five? Is my closing kind of thoughts there with my concerns.
Yeah, I could go for that. That's a fantastic question. Obviously, the two guys I would trust there in the clutch is Steph Curry and LeBron. That is undeniable, undebatable. I would go, and people would call me crazy for this, but I would want KD out there, healthy as a shooter, as a scorer. I could go with Kevin Durant there. My final two people, give me some defense. Give me Derek White. Derek White over Drew Holiday in that situation, because if Derek White's open, he needs to shoot a three. And if I have to trust Derek White or Drew Holiday to knock down a three in that clutch time, I'm gonna lean Derek White there. And then that final person, I could go Jason Tatum. He just won a championship. He knows what it's like to compete in those high intense situations at this moment in his career. That's my five. So what I have: Curry, LeBron, KD, Derek White, and Jason Tatum.
So yeah, I would probably I agree with that somewhat. Obviously, you got to have Curry, LeBron, and KD out there. I 100% agree. And then I think I would probably have Devin Booker, and then I would have Joel Embiid out there. I'm a big Embiid fan. I know you either love him or you hate him.
I mean, that is quite the truthful statement.
Yes, yeah, you either love him or hate him. But I mean, he's a 7-footer. He can, everybody can call him soft or whatever, but he can play defense. He's 7 foot tall, and he can do stuff offensively, which I think with Bam is not so much the case. And then obviously AD can, but I mean, if I was AD, I don't know that I'd even be there. But I don't know. That's beside the point. So yeah, I would do that 5.
The Derek White Drew Holiday thing, I'd have to look into 3-point numbers, but I think that's lunacy. So I take the better I take the better defender and the guy that's been in more playoff situations more consistently. Anyway, so I would go with Steph. I'm with you. Steph, KD, and LeBron have to be in there again. KD shooting, healthy. We all address the same thing there. I think I would probably go Anthony Edwards, because you want a guy that has that mentality. Like, look at the last 3 to 4 Olympics teams that, like, when we kind of fell off in 2004 and then came back a little bit, it was the guys like Kobe that came back and said, like, we're going to win this and we're going to take these guys seriously. I mean, we've all seen the doc probably where Kobe, like, basically punched Powell in the chest.
Run through.
He just basically kicked him in the chest. It was crazy.
And that's a good point. Like, I don't want to cut you off, but like, we need that guy.
And
a dog. Anthony Edwards.
We need a dog.
Anthony Edwards is that guy. If you're just looking at this team, I think he's the guy with the most like who gives a crap the most at that point?
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess my fifth guy at that point, I'd have to have a big, and I feel bad because I'm leaving guys off that I think should be playing. Like I think Tatum, I'm with you. I would love for him to be out there. I would even love to see somebody like, I don't know. I think I would either go Bam or AD. If we're talking just closing five to be defensive minded there, I think AD is a lot more mobile even at 31. And because of the height, I think I'd probably go Anthony Davis. But that just shows you we all basically just gave 5 different lineups, 3 different lineups. So
it's definitely going to be on the coaching staff for sure to make that decision.
I trust Steve Kerr, I'd say.
Oh, yeah.
I trust Steve Kerr, Mark Few, Tyronn Lue, and Eric
Lue.
Spoelstra. The fact that Eric Spoelstra is the assistant, first of all, is kind of crazy. But
yeah, the disrespect on
it's
the
not
best basketball coach.
There's a lot that goes into the choices here, okay?
Yeah.
Steve Kerr is like a 4-time champion in the last, 8 years or 9 years, like whatever. Talk about a guy we left off top 25 earlier, Klay Thompson. I thought that was interesting. I forgot to bring it up.
Klay Thompson.
They had Draymond.
They did have Draymond. We didn't address that. That's fair.
Yeah.
I know it's late. Sorry. But.
No, you're totally fine. This is why we're on Boom Broadcasting, where we don't have to have a hard stop at 6 o'clock when we're on air. We can, and we're also at 5:30, which seems to work better with everybody's schedule instead of just midday 12:30. So that's what it's allowed for the last few weeks on Out Pocket. Yeah,
I forgot. Good.
Go ahead, Trevor. I've got a whole point, so you go ahead.
Oh, I don't. Okay, yeah. I forgot to lead with this when we talked about the Olympics, and I apologize. Would you like to guess the I'm going to give you 1,000 guesses if we had time. Would you like to guess the opening announcing panel for the Olympic ceremony? I'll give you a hint. Mike Tirico's in there, sure, right? NBC guy, Olympic guy, been doing
Charles Barkley.
Close. Peyton Manning and Kelly Clarkson.
Oh, wow.
Mike Tirico,
I was really close.
Peyton Manning and Kelly Clarkson. And when I tell you, I'm, as American as it gets. By the way, that is an NBC broadcaster. That is an ESPN Productions person. Omaha Productions, but he signed with ESPN. And that is a pop singer. I muted it 30 minutes into the ceremony 5 hours ago. Like I've had it on the TV for 8 hours and it's just muted. Anyway, I just thought that was really funny. I tweeted that because I was like, this is a ridiculous 3 people.
Yeah, there's some interesting choices. Speaking on the Olympics, though, I tell you the things that I'm looking forward to the most are 2 of the more out there stuff. Surfing, they're doing it in Tahiti, so in French Polynesia on the other side of the world from France, Paris. But it is a French, I guess, territory or province. I don't know what they call it. But doing it in Tahiti is really exciting. The waves there get anywhere from 2 to 20 feet tall. I'm pretty sure I was reading compared to when they did it in, Tokyo, the waves were not getting that big. So I'm really excited for that. I think that'll be really cool to see.
Yep.
There'll definitely be some guys to shred the Nars, as they say. And the other thing that I think is just going to be a runaway for America is going to be men's street skateboarding. I've got 2 left feet, so I cannot skateboard. My brother was a big skateboarder. I'm big into it. I think it's one of the coolest things on the planet to be able to do. But Nyjah Houston is representing America, and if you know anything about skateboarding, that name is the name in the sport. And so I think he'll run away with the street skateboarding. I don't really know a lot about like the ramps, not the ramp, but like when they do the
BMX.
I'm not big into that, but I'm really excited to see Nyjah Houston and what some of the lineups and some of the lines he can run and what he can do, because he is one of the 100 million mile an hour guys in skateboarding, and he is the best to do it. So
he had a real big chance to say skate away with the gold, but anyway,
that would have been a good one. That would have been
tough. That's tough. You said ran away, and I was like,
I did. I missed that one.
No, it's cool.
But yeah, I think both of those will be really interesting and both just really unique and something you don't really get to see a lot in mainstream media.
Trevor's big into the dad jokes or the puns whenever he has a chance to do it. Matthew Woody, wow, calling you out, Austin.
Man, Trent's cat's in the cradle right now. He's probably too busy for me right now. Poor fella. I'll see him tonight. Don't worry.
It's okay. Me and Austin are in the same Dynasty League for the college football video game, and it's been absolutely fantastic, and what we've been able to do is really good. Trevor's got to run, but we'll be on air next couple minutes just telling you guys what to expect moving forward from Outta Pocket. So see
you, Trevor.
He's tending to the flowers.
Can I plug something on the way out?
Yes, you may.
Out of the Michael Davis appearance. Trivia Showdown, Michael Davis and Shannon Smith. No spoilers, but it was a really cool episode on 2-pointers It'll be out on August 14th. And then I just had Charlotte Hornets, since we have a tie here in North Carolina with a triad with Michael. I just had Charlotte Hornets Summer League player Jake Stevens on. That was really cool to talk about his journey. He just hit a buzzer beater in the TBT. I know it's tight news right now for the sports world. And so the TBT is kind of a cool marketed thing right now. Jake's really close to winning $1 million with Eberlin Road. And so shout out to Jake Stevens for coming by. I just wanted to promote that. Jake was awesome. And Charlotte Hornet. So we'll see what happens.
Dude, that's pretty sick.
Jake was cool. Jake was a great dude. I appreciate it. So
yeah,
thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Trevor. Go check out his stuff. He's got a whole YouTube channel as well, the 2 Pointers podcast, doing all the basketball and doing the hearts. I don't know how he does that. I know. How do you do
that? Was so cool. What the heck?
But yeah, before we ended, I know Trevor had to run a couple minutes early, but wanted to also plug Austin, all the stuff he's doing. Austin, thank you, man, for not only doing like all the fantasy organization with the leagues, everything you help Matt Woody with, all the stuff you've done with setting up that college football dynasty, hopping on Out of Pocket through your busy schedule. I wanted to publicly say thank you, even though I've texted you that.
Thank you, Michael. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, man, I love doing this. I love getting in here and talking. And hopefully that Matthew Woody guy that's yapping in the chat so much, hopefully he'll come on and I can argue with him some, but I think he's scared to death. So we'll see.
Ooh, like you're ducking Trent. Matt Woody's ducking another Out of Pocket of here.
There you go. Matt Woody's ducking Out of Pocket.
Well, I did not duck my matchup in college football 25. I've already got the game, but if you don't, then you can enter our 500 subscriber giveaway. We're about at 345 right now, last time I checked. So hit that subscribe button. A, it's free. B, you get all of this Boom Broadcasting content where we're dropping like 2 to 3 episodes a day minimum. What we've been doing is absolutely fantastic, the entire team. And in addition, if you already have College Football 25, this enters you into giveaways we'll be doing in the future, because 500, we're not going to stop there, of course. But it's been a super incredible week. Super incredible month as well. So super, super thankful for all the support. A couple baseball headlines. We're having the trade deadline come up. We actually had a deal that happened here this afternoon. Dodgers dealing James Paxton back to the Red Sox. And James Paxton had been 8-2 this season. So that was kind of shocking. In addition, right before we went on air, the Orioles have acquired Zach Eflin from the Tampa Bay Rays. So those are 2 big deals made right before the trade deadline. And the Philadelphia Phillies acquiring Austin Hayes in a trade with the Baltimore Orioles. So a lot of moves moving on right there. I know we had a huge show today, a lot of stuff to get through, so we didn't have a baseball segment. Just wanted to update you guys on that. Out of Pocket will be back this Monday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, and Mouth It Off with Mike will host a nightcap immediately following SmackDown, about 5-7 minutes after we're at. And 200 subs on his channel gets him a live barber shaving where he shaves his beard into the Dirty Dom stash.
I can't wait to see that.
Dude, I can't wait. He's about 60 off from that 200 mark, but it has to happen before the end of the month. That was the caveat he had. So we have about 4 or 5 more days to get that in. So again, support him, sub, and that live barber shaving will happen on Boom Broadcasting's YouTube channel. That's what he's promised. So I just want the Dirty Dom stash. That's all I care about. You see him in the comments. He's doing absolutely incredible. But for Trevor Everett from 2 Pointers, from Austin Summers and Michael Davis, this has been Out of Pocket, and we will see you guys back here on Monday.
See you guys.